And let me tell you, he is the MVP of girl dads, to say the least.
Kobe Bryant's lost letter to his daughter has finally surfaced, and fans are calling it the most personal window into the Mamba's heart ever revealed. But with whispers that the letter contains a message Kobe never wanted the world to see. The question is, why now? And what does it change about his relationship with his daughter? The Mamba's greatest legacy, his girls. The discovery of Kobe Bryant's lost letter to his daughter has emerged as one of the most intimate revelations connected to his legacy. While Kobe's career is defined by championships, MVPs, and accolades, his role as a father, and specifically as a father of daughters, reshaped the way millions saw him. The letter's contents, though private in tone, carry echoes of everything he spoke about publicly: his relentless drive, his devotion to his family, and his belief in nurturing strength and ambition in his children. The context of the letter is inseparable from the identity Kobe forged late in life as the MVP of girl dads, a title his daughter Natalia herself bestowed during her public tribute. Kobe's shift into fatherhood as the centerpiece of his identity was already well documented. After his retirement from the NBA, he poured his energy into storytelling, film production, and building opportunities for young athletes, especially women. His Oscar-winning short deer basketball reflected his departure from the sport, but also symbolized how he saw legacy as something passed down. As Natalia stated, his commitment to craft extended into his commitment to her.
He is the reason I'm pursuing film in college, and he is the reason film has inspired me to create memories like ours for other people, to even bring more fathers and daughters together like us.
From the moment Natalia Diamante Bryant entered the world on January 19, 2003, Kobe's entire universe shifted on its axis. Natalia, nicknamed Slim by her father due to her small size as a child, would become the first chapter in what would evolve into Kobe's most cherished accomplishment. But this wasn't the typical story of a professional athlete struggling to connect with family life. Instead, it was the beautiful unfolding of a man discovering that his greatest coaching job wouldn't be on any court, but in the living room of his Newport Beach home, teaching his daughters not how to perfect a crossover, but how to navigate the complexities of growing up in a world that would always be watching. The Bryant household wasn't your typical celebrity family dynamic. Despite living in luxurious homes in Newport Beach, California, including a 760 square foot estate in Pelican Crest, reflecting Kobe's $600 million net worth at the time of his death, Kobe and Vanessa made deliberate choices to ensure their daughters experienced as normal a childhood as possible. This wasn't about hiding from fame or pretending their circumstances were ordinary, but rather about creating a foundation of genuine family connection that could withstand the pressures of public life. When Natalia reflects on those early years, she recalls how her parents made her childhood feel ordinary, saying, "Growing up, my parents made it as normal as possible. Thank God they did. It's not, oh, she's Natalia Bryant, she's Kobe Bryant's daughter." A lot of times they saw me as she's just Nani. This wasn't achieved through isolation or pretense, but through the genuine investment of time and attention that Kobe poured into being present for the moments that truly mattered. The rhythm of their family life painted a picture of intentionality that defied every stereotype about professional athletes and their relationships with their children. Family activities included trips to Disneyland, strip malls, and vacations in places like Bora Bora and ski resorts. But it wasn't just the grand gestures or exotic destinations that defined their bond. It was the quiet Tuesday evenings and lazy Sunday mornings, the car rides to school and the bedtime stories, the movie marathons and the deep conversations that stretched long into the night.
So my dad and I would always watch as many movies as we can, and we'd go on movie marathons.
Natalia bonded deeply with her father over shared interests, particularly their love of cinema. They watched films together, including a memorable midnight screening of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker in December 2019, where Kobe let her play Taylor Swift music on the ride home. These weren't just casual movie nights, but immersive experiences where father and daughter would dive deep into the art of storytelling, analyzing cinematography, discussing character development, and exploring the emotional landscapes that great films could create.
And then we'd also analyze as many movies as we can, and we'd talk about it for months.
This shared passion for film would prove to be more than just a bonding activity. It was laying the groundwork for Natalia's future aspirations, planting seeds that would eventually bloom into her pursuit of a degree in cinematic arts at USC. But more than that, these movie marathons represented something profound about Kobe's approach to fatherhood. He wasn't content to simply spend time with his daughters. He wanted to understand their interests, to engage with their curiosities, and to be genuinely genuinely present for their intellectual and emotional development. The addition of Gianna, Bianca, and Capri to the family only deepened Kobe's transformation from Mamba to devoted father. Each daughter brought her own unique personality and set of interests, and Kobe embraced the challenge of connecting with each of them individually while fostering their collective bond as sisters. As a biracial child, her mother is of Mexican and Irish descent, and her father was African American, Natalia navigated her identity, noting, "When I was younger, I didn't really understand how I'm both. As I got older, I was able to understand." Kobe's role in helping his daughters understand and embrace their complex cultural heritage became another dimension of his fatherhood, one that required sensitivity, wisdom, and the kind of emotional intelligence that doesn't always come naturally to competitive athletes. Public appearances were limited but meaningful, including courtside seats at Lakers games, like the 2013 All-Star Weekend in Houston. When the family did step into the public eye, it was clear that these weren't photo opportunities or publicity stunts, but genuine family moments that happened to occur in public spaces. Kobe's daughters weren't accessories to his public persona. They were the center of his private world. And when that world occasionally intersected with his public life, the authenticity of their relationship was unmistakable. The family frequented Paris since Natalia was 4, where she enjoyed crepes and the city's aesthetic. These international trips weren't just luxury vacations, but opportunities for cultural education and family bonding that would shape the girls' worldview and create lasting memories that would become even more precious after tragedy struck.
Paris. I just love like the ambiance there, and I love the people there, and I just love the Parisian aesthetic.
The depth of Kobe's commitment to fatherhood became evident in how he approached his daughter's individual interests and aspirations. Natalia attended Sage Hill School, a private high school in Newport Coast, with tuition around $53,770 annually. But more important than the prestigious education was how Kobe engaged with her academic and athletic pursuits. Inspired by the 2012 London Olympics, Natalia played varsity volleyball as a middle blocker at Sage Hill, with her mother predicting her love for the sport, saying, "Nani, you're going to love this sport." Kobe attended her events, such as a USC volleyball game in November 2019, just months before his death. These weren't obligatory appearances or brief photo ops. Kobe was genuinely invested in understanding the sports his daughters loved, even when those sports had nothing to do with basketball. He studied volleyball strategy, learned the positions, and became as knowledgeable about Natalia's athletic pursuits as he was about his own. From a young age, Natalia expressed diverse interests, including fashion, telling her mother she wanted to model after seeing a Chanel runway show. She also aspired to be a fashion designer or veterinarian, but was drawn to film, influenced by movie marathons with Kobe. Rather than pushing his own interests or dreams onto his daughters, Kobe embraced their individual passions with the same intensity he had once reserved for perfecting his jump shot. But perhaps the most telling aspect of Kobe's evolution as a father was how he balanced his legendary work ethic with his commitment to being present for his family. This wasn't a man who simply showed up for the big moments while missing the daily rhythms of family life. Instead, he found ways to integrate his pursuit of excellence with his role as a father, creating a model of success that measured victories not just in points scored or games won, but in bedtime stories read, school plays attended, and quiet conversations shared. The foundation that Kobe built during these early years of fatherhood would prove to be more than just precious family memories. It would become the bedrock upon which his daughters would stand when the unthinkable happened, when the helicopter carrying their father and sister disappeared into the California fog on January 26, 2020. But that foundation was built day by day, moment by moment, through the accumulated weight of small gestures and large commitments that defined Kobe's transformation from Mamba to dad. Beyond the tragedy, Natalia's journey through loss and growth. The morning of January 26, 2020 began like countless others in the Bryant household, with the familiar rhythms of a family preparing for another day filled with the activities and commitments that define their lives. But by the end of that day, Natalia, at just 17 years old and only a week after her birthday, would lose her father, Kobe, 41, and sister, Gianna, 13, in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California, which also killed 7 others. The family was en route to Gianna's basketball tournament when their world was forever altered in an instant that would reverberate across not just their family, but around the globe. The magnitude of this loss cannot be adequately captured in words. For a 17-year-old girl who had built her entire identity around the loving foundation her father had provided, who had spent her childhood feeling ordinary and protected despite extraordinary circumstances, the sudden absence of that protective presence was devastating beyond measure. Vanessa publicly grieved. "We are completely devastated by the sudden loss of my adoring husband, Kobe, the amazing father father of our children, and my beautiful, sweet Gianna. In the immediate aftermath of the tragedy, Natalia faced a choice that would define not just her response to grief, but her entire approach to honoring her father's memory and caring for her remaining family. Natalia quit volleyball amid the grief, explaining, "A lot was going on at that time. I knew I didn't love volleyball as much as they love basketball. I'm okay with that." This wasn't merely about abandoning a sport. It was about recognizing that grief changes everything, including the activities and interests that once brought joy. The court that had once been a place of achievement and connection became a reminder of a father who would never again cheer from the sidelines. But rather than allowing this loss to define her limitations, Natalia began to demonstrate the very qualities her father had spent years cultivating in her. The Mamba mentality that Kobe had made famous wasn't just about basketball excellence. It was about responding to challenges with determination, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to growth. Natalia credits Mamba mentality for her drive. It's about constantly trying to be the best version of yourself. The job's never done. This wasn't just inspirational rhetoric. It became the practical framework through which she would navigate the impossible task of growing up without her father's guidance. Vanessa praised her as a wonderful big sister, an incredible daughter, noting her role in supporting Bianca and Capri during senior year. At 17, Natalia suddenly found herself in a position that no teenager should ever have to occupy, serving as a bridge between her grieving mother and her younger sisters, helping to hold together a family that had been fundamentally altered by loss. This wasn't a role she chose, but one she embraced with a maturity that spoke to the solid foundation her parents had built. The path forward wasn't without its additional challenges. Challenges included online racism, harassment from a stalker, and public scrutiny. The loss of her father and sister would have been overwhelming under any circumstances, but doing so while under the intense scrutiny that comes with being part of one of the most famous families in sports created additional layers of complexity. Every step of her grief journey would be observed, analyzed, and commented upon by strangers around the world. Yet through all of this, Natalia found ways to honor her father and sister while carving out space for her own healing and growth. Natalia honors Kobe and Gianna through symbols like necklaces with Slim and Mamba quotes. Dedication makes dreams come true. These weren't empty gestures or publicity moves, but deeply personal ways of carrying her father's memory and teachings into her daily life. Perhaps most remarkably, Natalia discovered that talking about her father brought more healing than pain. She speaks fondly of them. "I love talking about my dad. It's bittersweet, but I enjoy talking about him more than it's sad for me." This wasn't about denying the reality of loss or pretending that grief doesn't hurt. Instead, it was about finding ways to keep the relationship alive through memory, conversation, and the ongoing influence of his teachings in her life. Her commitment to preserving her father's memory extended beyond her own healing to ensuring that her younger sisters would maintain their connection to Kobe and Gianna. For her sisters, she preserves memories. "You do the best that you can. For my little sisters, we're trying to keep that memory for them." This wasn't just about sharing stories or showing photographs. It was about embodying the values and love that Kobe had shown them, becoming a living link between her sisters and the father they had lost at such young ages. The family's journey through grief included both private moments and public commemorations. In 2021, she paid tribute at her winter formal and high school graduation, wearing a cap with a message to Kobe. These public acknowledgments weren't performed for the cameras or the crowds, but were genuine expressions of a daughter's love for her father, ways of including him in milestones he would have been present for under different circumstances. At Kobe's 2023 Hollywood handprint unveiling, she called him the MVP of girl dads. This phrase, which would become one of the most memorable ways of describing Kobe's approach to fatherhood, wasn't just a catchy slogan, but a deeply felt tribute to a man who had redefined what it meant to be successful by making his daughters his greatest priority.
Being his daughter is one of the greatest joys in my life, and I hope to continue to embody and cherish the many lessons he has taught me.
Through all of this, Natalia was simultaneously navigating the practical challenges of moving forward with her education and future plans. She enrolled at USC in 2021, majoring in cinematic arts, film, rooming with actress Storm Reed, and balancing studies with modeling. The decision to pursue film wasn't just about following a childhood interest, it was about honoring the deep connection she had shared with her father through their movie marathons and conversations about storytelling. She signed with IMG Models in 2021 at 18, debuting on the Versace runway at Milan Fashion Week 2023. These professional opportunities weren't just career moves, but ways of building an independent identity while honoring the foundation her parents had provided. The modeling career that began during this period would become more than just a job. It would be a platform for expressing the confidence and self-assurance that Kobe had spent years cultivating in his daughters.
I think that
all the different relationships have been amazing, and I think that all the different creative perspectives.
The balance between private grief and public life required careful navigation. Family remained central. They vacationed in Jamaica 2021, France 2021, Italy and Spain 2023, and attended events like the 2024 WNBA All-Star Game. These family trips weren't escapes from grief, but ways of creating new memories while honoring old ones, maintaining the family traditions that Kobe had valued while adapting them to their changed circumstances. Natalia is close with celebrity friends, including attending Brooklyn Beckham's wedding, 2022, and events with Timothée Chalamet. These connections represented something important about how Natalia was building her adult life, not in isolation or solely defined by her loss, but in genuine connection with peers who could appreciate both her unique circumstances and her individual personality. Throughout this period of growth and adaptation, Natalia consistently demonstrated the values her father had instilled while developing her own voice and identity. Her approach to honoring Kobe's memory wasn't about trying to become him or live in his shadow, but about embodying the best of what he had taught her while pursuing her own dreams and interests. The young woman who emerged from this period of intense grief and growth was someone who had been fundamentally changed by loss, but not defined by it. She had learned to carry her father's memory not as a burden, but as a source of strength, to honor his teachings not through imitation, but through authentic self-expression, and to build a future that would make him proud, not because it followed his path, but because it reflected the values he had spent years teaching her. The Mamba legacy lives on, Natalia's triumph and future. May 2025 marked not just the end of Natalia Bryant's college journey, but a profound moment of triumph that encapsulated everything her father had dreamed for his eldest daughter. At 22 years old, she earned her bachelor's degree in a film-related field from USC's School of Cinematic Arts, achieving cum laude honors with a cumulative GPA between 3.5 and 3.699. This wasn't just an academic achievement. It was the culmination of a journey that had taken her through unimaginable loss, intense public scrutiny, and the challenge of building an adult identity while honoring her father's memory. The graduation ceremony itself became a masterclass in how to honor the past while embracing the future. The standout element of Natalia's graduation attire was her custom cardinal and gold stole, which served as a heartfelt homage to her father, featuring Kobe's iconic black Mamba Nike sheath logo embroidered over her heart. "Thank you, Mom and Dad," inscribed on the back of the neck, her sorority letters for Kappa Kappa Gamma, and class of 2025 inches and cum laude notations. This custom stole wasn't just a fashion statement or a publicity gesture. It was a deeply personal declaration that even in her greatest moments of individual achievement, Natalia carried her father's influence and memory with her. The placement of the Mamba logo over her heart was particularly meaningful, a visual representation of how Kobe's teachings and love had become integral to who she was, not as something external to be displayed, but as something internal that guided her every step. The School of Cinematic Arts ceremony was intimate and star-studded, with Jeannie Buss presenting diplomas, including Natalia's, a symbolic full-circle moment given Kobe's Lakers championships under the Buss family. The fact that Jeannie Buss, representing the Lakers organization that had been such a central part of Kobe's life, was there to present Natalia with her diploma created a bridge between her father's professional legacy and her own educational achievement. Vanessa Bryant, along with younger sisters Bianca, 8, and Capri, 5, attended, sharing emotional posts on Instagram. Vanessa captioned a photo of Natalia by a USC fountain. "We're so proud of you," at Natalia Bryant, to which Natalia replied, "Love you." This exchange, simple as it might seem, represented something profound about how the family had learned to celebrate joy in the midst of ongoing grief, to create new traditions and moments of pride while keeping Kobe's memory alive. The public reaction to Natalia's graduation revealed just how deeply her journey had resonated with people around the world. Public reactions were overwhelmingly positive, with A-list celebrities flooding social media with congratulations. Michael B. Jordan, "Congratulations, world is yours." Storm Reed, "Gorgnani, proud of you." Others, Jennifer Garner, Tina Knowles, Ciara, Ava DuVernay, and many more. These weren't just polite congratulations from fellow celebrities. They represented genuine affection and respect for a young woman who had navigated extraordinary challenges with grace and determination. The breadth of support, from actors to directors to musicians to athletes, demonstrated that Natalia had earned recognition not just as Kobe's daughter, but as an individual worthy of celebration in her own right. Media outlets like TMZ, ESPN, and Lakers Nation amplified the story, with posts garnering thousands of likes and views, news, emphasizing the Lakers family's support and Natalia's grace amid adversity. The way the story was covered, focusing on her achievements and the love surrounding her rather than just the tragedy that had shaped her journey, represented a mature understanding of how to honor both her loss and her growth. But Natalia's graduation was more than just a moment of celebration. It was also a launching pad for her future aspirations. Her degree from the USC School of Cinematic Arts places her among alumni like George Lucas and Judd Apatow, in a program renowned for its hands-on training in film production, critical studies, and media arts. This wasn't just about earning a diploma. It was about positioning herself to pursue the filmmaking dreams that she and her father had discussed during their movie marathons, to honor his memory by creating the kind of stories that could bring people together the way their shared love of cinema had bonded them.
So in 10 years, I want to win an Oscar.
Natalia has expressed interest in filmmaking, potentially directing or producing, aligning with Kobe's own ventures into media. For example, his Oscar-winning short film Dear Basketball in 2018. This connection to her father's own creative work wasn't just about following in his footsteps, but about understanding that excellence can take many forms, that the Mamba mentality her father had taught her could be applied to any field she chose to pursue. Throughout her college years, Natalia had demonstrated a remarkable ability to balance multiple pursuits while maintaining her academic excellence. Her modeling career had taken off in ways that few could have predicted, but she never allowed it to overshadow her educational goals. She modeled for UGG, Chanel, Victoria's Secret Pink, Isabel Marant, and Beyoncé's Ivy Park, interned on Beyoncé's Renaissance World Tour 2023. These weren't just prestigious gigs. They were opportunities that allowed her to explore different aspects of creative expression while building professional relationships and developing her own sense of style and identity. Appeared in Teen Vogue 2021 cover, Town and Country 2024, and red carpet events like the Met Gala and Vanity Fair Oscars after party. Each of these appearances represented a choice to step into the public eye not just as Kobe's daughter, but as a young woman with her own voice, style, and perspective to offer the world.
Honestly, I think that less is more, and I think that's the best advice that I've ever been given, and I think that I take less is more every day. Like, go with that fashion advice and run with it.
Perhaps most importantly, Natalia had learned to use her platform and her story to inspire others facing their own challenges. Natalia uses her platform to promote Mamba mentality publicly, inspiring others through interviews and appearances, stating it's about striving for excellence in all fields. This wasn't about preaching or pretending to have all the answers. It was about sharing honestly how the principles her father had taught her had helped her navigate loss, growth, and the ongoing challenge of building a meaningful life. In multiple 2023 features, for example, LBETE News, she discussed honoring Kobe's legacy by embodying excellence in work ethic. These weren't just media obligations, but opportunities to share the deeper lessons her father had taught her about resilience, dedication, and the importance of constantly striving to be the best version of yourself. As Natalia looked toward her post-graduation future, she did so with a clear understanding of both the opportunities and responsibilities that came with her unique position. Post-graduation, Natalia is shifting focus toward filmmaking, her major at USC. In a June 2025 quanda, she revealed her dream job involves film, saying she's laser focused on her film career after graduating. This focus on filmmaking represented more than just a career choice. It was a way of honoring the creative bond she had shared with her father while pursuing her own artistic vision. She is committed to ensuring the mentality stays intact for future generations, viewing it as a lifelong mindset rather than a temporary tribute. The young woman who emerged from USC in 2025 was someone who had been fundamentally shaped by both love and loss, who had learned to carry the weight of public attention while remaining true to her own values and interests. She had discovered that honoring her father's memory wasn't about trying to replace him or fill the void he had left, but about embodying the best of what he had taught her while creating her own unique path forward.
And I want to make a film that's like where I can incorporate fashion and like those fashion aspects. And I think like combining like my two passions, like that's just amazing. And I want to be able to do that.
The foundation work that had become central to the Bryant family's mission also provided Natalia with a platform to make a meaningful impact beyond her individual career aspirations, involved with the Mamba and Mambacita Sports Foundation, modeling merchandise, and supporting underserved athletes. This wasn't just ceremonial involvement, it was an active commitment to continuing the work her father had started, ensuring that his vision of empowering young athletes would continue long after his death. In 2024, she wore pants made from Kobe's jerseys. This seemingly simple fashion choice represented something profound about how Natalia had learned to integrate her father's memory into her daily life, not as something separate or ceremonial, but as a natural part of who she was and how she chose to present herself to the world. The young woman, who had once been known primarily as Kobe Bryant's eldest daughter, had evolved into someone who commanded attention and respect in her own right. Recent highlights, as of July 2025, showed off dance moves in a viral video, celebrated her 21st birthday with stars like Kiara. These moments of joy and celebration weren't about forgetting the past or moving on from grief, but about embracing the fullness of life that her father would have wanted for her. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.